Welcome back, friends, and today we have this vintage and rare queen steel number 63 dual blade knife. So some quick specs here. The handle length is 4 inches. It is got this bone inlay, and then you have the nickel bolsters. You have brass liners inside, and you can see the dual blades. And the bone has these 3 folders grooved into it. And these are brass pins holding the scales in the construction. They certainly don't make these, or they certainly don't make these like the construction on this is well done for the time it was built, which was, from my estimate, by looking at the blade, the Queen Steel design logo. It's hard to see on the camera, but it's very faint. You can get a close estimate by looking at how they designed the logo, because they would change it every few years. And through research and looking at the logo, it's estimated around 1953 that this knife was built. And as you can see on the blade, it's got a lot of usage. And this was my grandpa's knife. I'm very fortunate to have able to get it after he passed away. May he rest in peace. And I remember when I was little, he would take this knife and sharpen it against a rock. That's why there's so much of these scuff marks on the blade. He's cut, I remember him cutting so many apples and vegetables out of the garden, and lots of fruit off the trees when I was little. So this knife has a lot of sentimental value. So the cutting edge of the blade, of the main primary blade, would be a little over 3.5. I believe the manufacturer calls it a 4-inch blade, but that's not. I think that's the whole blade from here to all the way to the end, not the cutting. And that's the primary blade. And as you can tell, it's no locking blade. It's just opening with a nail nick here. And then the secondary blade, or they call it the pin blade, the pin knife. It's pretty snappy still from how old it is. Like I say, the manufacturing process back then was very good, especially considering around the 1950s. The secondary blade length, 2 inches cutting edge. And again, the nail nick opening. can see the construction inside. It's pretty clean inside. I literally spent, when I got this knife, it was so hard to open and it was filthy dirty, and I literally spent over an hour cleaning this knife out, and there was so much black crud and that came out of this blade. I was amazed that 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 a knife could have so much this black crud come out of just one knife. It was amazing to see how much had accumulated from the years and probably decades of knife use. He did have another knife that I also got, but I just remember him carrying this knife ever since I can remember. Like I said, it was amazing to see how much crud that I was able to remove. And I wanted to try to keep it, or try to maintain it like the way I received it, so I didn't get the scales buffed up or the bolsters polished. I didn't want to polish the blade, but there were so many chips and on the edge of the blade. I took it to a professional knife sharpening store, and they resharpened the edge on both blades, because like I say, there was so many chips on the edge of the blade. I certainly didn't want to screw up the blades. I can sharpen knives, but not to, I didn't want to risk messing up this knife, because like I say, it was my grandpa's knife, so I just got it professionally sharpened. This secondary pen knife, there was a big chip on the end here, and they did the knife sharpening company did a excellent job putting a fine point on there, resharpening it. It's nice to have a memento from my grandpa, because I just have really nice fond memories of him. And it's an added bonus that this knife was made in the 50s. So it's really cool to have something like that from back then. And you can tell the manufacturing process is impeccable. The transition from the bone to the nickel bolster is seamless. You cannot, when I run my thumb across, you can't feel the transition from the bone to the bolster. Now obviously this was made in the United States, and I believe Queen Steel was bought out by Great Eastern Cutlery, I believe. but you can see all these scratches and scrapes on the blade. Like I said, I remember watching him just pick up a rock and sharpen his knife on the rock. And I was little. I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. But I remember him using this knife so much. The weight on this, I would estimate around 3.5 inches, or excuse me, 3.5 ounces. I do carry it once in a while, but I don't carry it every day, just because I don't want to risk losing it or even dropping it and damaging it. So, but I do carry it occasionally. I throw it in the back pocket. And there you have it, friends. The Queen Steel number 63 knife. And until next time, friends, have a great day.